Hello, I'm Rex Lita with the Midday News. Air Niugini has commenced moderate flight schedule reduction as part of its contingency and business continuity plan after closely monitoring the current fuel situation and the threat of fuel rationing from suppliers. The action to ration fuel deliveries will unfortunately affect Air Niugini's flight schedule. They continue safe operations. Air Niugini has had to reduce the number of flights operated. Acting Chief Executive Officer Gary Seddon said this impact is beyond the airline's control. Customers who have already purchased tickets are advised to check with their nearest Air Niugini Tickets office, Air Niugini Customer Call Center or local travel agent for further information on travel. Customers should also ensure that their contact details are made available at the time of booking to ensure messages from Air Niugini are received. A competent-based training assessment and curriculum implementation training and provincial in-service training was held during the Term 2 school holiday for vocational education teachers teaching at TVWAN schools in Eastern Highlands. Eastern Highlands Province will introduce the new program next year in all TVWAN centres in the province. The new program will see implementation of National Certificate 1, 2, 3 and 4 next year. Teachers from 2 technical secondary schools, Kainantu and Hanganofi, also participated in the week-long workshop at Kamaliki Vocational Education Training Centre in the Goroka. It was facilitated by Senior Curriculum Officer Pok Sorenga, Michael Basiu and Macklin Lupine from the National Department of Education, TVET sector.
Division of Education, we are putting a step in the right direction. And I commend every one of you for your undivided support. Together we can do miles.
Gaipu Elementary School, located in Ward 8 of the Labiufa LLG, is a small rundown neglected education service for young. The school caters for more than 100 students, but infrastructure has deteriorated over the years and children are now out of school. Nawab MP Teo Pelgam recently visited the school on Friday and promised to get students learning going again with a facelift to school facilities. He said this work will be done by the locals. The Office of MP will provide a sawmill, roofing iron and other necessary materials. They anticipate building two two-in-one classrooms and an SME center for women and youth to use for SME activities. Mr. Pelgan said this classroom and SME centers model will be the standard for schools in Nawab district that need infrastructure support. In regional news, it's a known fact that plastic is overwhelming our lives, landfills, landscapes and oceans. There are concerted global efforts by consumers and operators to move away from being plastic dependent, and now plans are providing a possible alternative.
In a vast warehouse in Melbourne's west, Geordie and Julia Kay are conservation-minded entrepreneurs, hoping by year's end to have this very expensive newly minted machine turn out 10,000 tonnes of bio-friendly film for wrapping pallets.
Talking to one business alone, they use enough pallet wrap to circumnavigate the world 10 times every year, so it's just an immense scale of products.
Before this, Julia was an architect, Geordie a winemaker. Both of them encountered a lot of plastic pallet wrap.
Really, we started as consumers of pallet wrap. You know, for me in particular in architecture, I was spending a lot of time looking at the materials I was building with, understanding their processes and wanting to use the best materials possible. And then often they'd arrive on site wrapped in this petroleum-based plastic pallet wrap, which seemed to be, you know, a really big gap. And for Geordie and I, both using the product so much, we realised that if we could sort of change the materials that we were using on this one product, we could have a really profound impact on plastic waste. I mean, you know, it's the connector of all business. Everything that we're wearing or, you know, is around us has been on a pallet at some point.
Well, the dairy industry and retail and food and beverage and agriculture and And then you realise, wow, pallet wrap's probably one of the biggest plastic problems our world is currently facing.
This product is made from pelletised potato waste.
From French fries and potato chips, usually is used for cattle feed or it's spread out in farmland.
Next year, the couple aims to have a refinery built to utilise local waste from potato products.
Companies they've made a lot of promises and they really want to meet these goals. It's just for technology like ours, you know, it does take time and kind of money to scale up.
The couple has set its sights on replacing another plastic, an eco-friendly silage and hay wrap, and developing bioplastics that completely break down in the ocean. They may be self-confessed idealists, but their quest, with the help of some of the world's best scientists, is attracting strong interest here and abroad.
Julia and I are very ambitious people, very optimistic and probably a bit headstrong, for better or for worse.
I mean, for us, our goal is to put an end to petroleum plastic.
The ancient craft of forging metals is one that's slowly being lost in the modern world. But blacksmiths are making a comeback on a farm on the south coast of New South Wales, where men are coming together to talk about mental health.
Melting steel in a forge like this has been a bit out of fashion since blacksmiths did it during medieval times. But it became a salvation for Army and Police Force veteran Dean Hamilton after the traumatic events he'd witnessed in his career left him barely able to function.
When I was over an anvil and there was hot steel and I was concentrating on not burning myself, I didn't think about anything else. All I thought about was just creating something out of that piece of steel I had in front of me. And it was the first time that I'd had an element of mental peace in an incredibly long time.
After leaving the force, Dean realised he might be able to help others battling similar demons. Dean has created a program called Forge Through, bringing other veterans and first responders battling PTSD onto his farm at Nelligan on the New South Wales south coast. In small groups, he starts conversations and teaches people how to turn a discarded piece of metal into something useful.
It's a symbol of transformation, and it's a symbol that they can do something. They can take a crappy piece of steel and turn it into something beautiful.
It brings together people who've shared similar experiences at the coalface of policing, emergency response and defence.
I've definitely become a lot more calmer. It's been great so that I can link in with other guys and we can talk about their problems, talk about my problems, how they're so similar.
The participants all keep in touch and have built a strong community.
We talk about, you know, camaraderie and mateship and all that sort of stuff. Well, a lot of that was lost before leaving the service has been reignited, I guess, through Forge Through.
Igniting a new fire among those who've served.
Risk-taking is a normal part of being a teenager, but sometimes that behavior can be a life-changing or even fatal. A Royal Pet Hospital program has exposed young people to the potential outcome of dangerous behavior and hopes lessons can be learned.
Seeing a loved one wheeled into their hospital is a nightmare scenario for doctors. Can I help you? Inside Royal Perth, Western Australia's major trauma hospital, life-saving work goes on 24/7.
So no history of drugs? No.
This busy facility treats more than 70,000 patients a year, and it's that work that Dr. Tim Bowles wants his daughter to witness firsthand. He sees the impact of trauma on families every day.
So I met John on Monday night. He's had a motorbike accident and as you can see he's had a fairly nasty injury to his head. He's on the ventilator, so he's unconscious and sedated, so he's got that breathing tube which is supporting his breathing at the moment.
John did nothing wrong. He was wearing a helmet and came off on a sharp bend.
Yeah, it's just the overwhelming, it's just the weight.
Just the idea of, for Eva to be one of the patients here, I can't even imagine what that would be like, and I try to put myself in the position of all the patients here as well, and I just can't even imagine what they're going through sometimes.
Eva is one of hundreds of children brought through this hospital every year to observe what's happening. with the goal of making them think twice about the risks that would make them patients here.
X-rayed him.
It was actually really emotional because it was just really hard to hear how, just what happened to them.
These rooms are filled with heartbreaking stories. Every patient has had their life changed in some way. Doctors hope at least one is able to break through to these young people and influence the decisions they make.
Conveying the human cost of a bad decision or a bad mistake is very difficult, particularly for parents or teacher. I think being able to see the consequences yourself is much more valuable than being told those consequences.
This program is the first of its kind in Australia, launched in 2006 after Dr. Monica Gope came across a similar initiative while working in Canada.
It had quite an impact on me, and I sort of do this thing every day. So we knew that we needed in Perth to have a little bit more outreach into our community, and that seemed to fit the bill.
The program's also been tailored to target at-risk youth in the juvenile justice system.
Some obviously find it quite confronting and upsetting being in the setting. I'm usually impressed by what they take away in terms of the actual message, which is sort of thinking about what they're doing and trying to make safe decisions and safe choices.
We unfortunately see people like Max pretty much every week.
A powerful lesson that may just save a life.
In sports, the PNG University of Technology's Patents and Bulolo Pines were declared joint winners of the 2023 Vesey Cup yesterday at the National Sport Institute in Goroka. The Spartans held off the PAU Red Ants in the semi-final to book their grand final ticket, while the men from Bulolo Pines defeated the highly touted UPNG Pythons to set up the Unitec Grand Final. Spartans and Bulolo Pines decided not to take the grand game, instead be declared joint winners. UPNG teams Python, Blacks and Medics were great throughout the tournament, including PAU, Red Ants and DY Fox from Wynberg University. 4 teams came from host UOG, including teams from UNRE, IBSU and Western Pacific University, showed so much potential in the tournament. The biannual tournament was hosted by UOG at the National Sports Institute in Goroka, Eastern Highlands Province. Reigning 2022 DGCL Cup defending champions Croton Hela Wigmen survived a late surge from West New Britain Provincial Government Kimber Cutters before recording a 26-20 win in round 14 of their DGCL ExxonMobil Cup class on Sunday at the Santos National Football Stadium. Carter's lanky centre and 4-try hero Elijah Rotinga almost single-handedly got his team home with a masterclass individual performance against the star-studded Hela Wigmen outfit. Rotinga also picked up the Man of the Match award. Here are the highlights.
Wigmen now asserting a bit of pressure here on the Kimber Cutters defence. Here's Tony Wemin, and there was a clean pass away to Nogoya in the clear and goes in for the first try. Walking it up towards the 30-metre mark. Tony Ponda across the park there, work it. Rotinga back on the inside is very dangerous, very strong as well, as he dives over for a very easy try in the end. They come again now. Can they go back-to-back inside ball for that man in Kaya? Able to offload, fighting Sipa Kaupa, and he scores back-to-back. The Wigmen puts the ball into the scrum. Lilicat kicks for the Wingman, Wesley flying through, and it's that man, and Liza Rotinga goes in. This kid is incredible. Quickly across the park, Tony Wamet, good hands again. A great recovery there by Corners, and he's gone over. Eliuda Mika playing it. Mikave bursting out of dummy half, goes right through. Only the full back to mid. Where's the support is Rotinga. Rotinga, has he got the leg? No one's going to catch him from there. Shut the gates, and Eliza Rotinga has gone in for his third of the afternoon. The Cutters are back in business. Goes right through, support on the inside, and it's Yes. Eliza Rotinga is having a field day till oh, there it is, full time. Huda has gone, but yes, the Cutters have finished off the match this afternoon with a try to Eliza Rotinga.
And that ends the midday news. Join us for more at 6 p.m.